There's the numbers. They're running. We're back. The GFB Clubhouse. I know we're missing one. I know you see one missing, but don't worry. He's going to jump in and join us if weather permits. Right now, there's a serious storm where our brother Greg is right now, and his power's out. And we can't do anything about that except keep the show moving along. But as I'm sure you are well aware of, this week's show, we were going to be talking about the rating system that was based on a popular TV series on Netflix that you may have heard about called Black Mirror. And in this specific episode, there was a rating system that allowed people to do certain things in society, do it socially. But instead of talking about that specifically today, because we want to wait on our brother, we're going to talk about it from a macro perspective. Black Mirror seems to do a lot of foreshadowing and a lot of forecasting. There are a lot of episodes that we've seen where things that were used when those shows were brought about are now being used in society regularly. And they're having an effect, not only on us as citizens, but on our youth and even for generations to come. And it could be a real problem. So we're going to discuss some of those things today. But before we get into these tantalizing topics, I want to find out how my brothers are doing this wonderful evening. Rod, John, talk to me. How you guys feeling this evening?
Yeah, man. John is in the house. Praying for my brother Greg, man. Praying for my brother Greg. Hopefully everything is well. But no, I feel good, man. I'm grateful to be here with y'all. Grateful for my family. Grateful for a lot. And it's not cliche. Like I'm really thinking through all of these words that I'm saying right now because I truly am. But one thing I've been like laser focused on from a gratitude standpoint as of late is just some of the blessings that I have around me. And I think we all have blessings around us. It's just like, are we gonna be able to see it? And just most recently it dawned on me and I was able to see it. And other people may have other situations that they feel are better or this is that. It's not about that. It's more so about just relishing in the fact that things I prayed about 5, 10 years ago, I'm living in. And, I've been walking this path and setting it up and being prayerful and mindful. And it hasn't always been peachy, and there are weeks and months where it's not. But today I'm grateful that it is. Today I'm grateful that I can see the basically the transition from then to now. And I can just really bask in the gratitude around it. So I'm really good today, man. Thanks for asking. John, what about you, man?
Less than highly favored as always. Super duper uber grateful. I'm here sharing a moment with my brothers. I was able to also specifically today share moments with my children, which for
Mm.
me is always a special moment. My youngest son is learning how to drive, so we had our first driving lesson today. Right before I got on a call with you guys, I had breakfast with my other
Oh,
son.
Mm.
Went really deep into perception and interpretations
Mm.
and social anxiety and just just so deep into conversation with a 19-year-old whose mind just he keeps me at an awe is how I like to describe it,
Mm.
um so again, so many blessings, so many things to be thankful for, with business, with family, with friendships, with everything, and just to your point, Rod, being able to have a level of awareness and self-reflection is just so good, right?
Yeah.
Because we miss it all the time, and
Mm.
sometimes we miss it to the point that once it's lost is when we start to reflect. So being able to rejoice in Thanksgiving, kind of like it hits the spot. So I'm with you 100%, feeling grateful. What about you, Brad?
you got to take time to do it, man. If you don't, time will run away with you, man. To be grateful and thankful is something that occurred today, man. I know, I believe I told you brothers offline. I got offered a position doing something that's right in line with my skill set. Probably one of the positions I have the greatest fit for. And this is how you know it's God the Father, man. It's like when opportunities come your way that you were not looking for, did not expect, and you were shown favor in places where you were not present. When that stuff starts happening, and
Come
I
on.
want to be cautious. I want to be cautious here because initially I had the inclination to overthink it. I was like, man, is this really what I'm supposed to do? It's like this, that, and the third. But then I got to remember every day I'm praying for guidance and wisdom and discernment. So if I'm doing that, it should not take me long to recognize an opportunity and a blessing when it comes, because every opportunity we have has an infinite amount of doorways behind it that can lead somewhere else. Just because you take an opportunity right now does not mean that that thing has to be permanent. It could be a branch that leads to a whole nother tree. You never know. And so, with that open mind, and just because of the fact that, it's exciting to explore new areas and new fields and just find out how big or how great this gift that God has given me can be,
Mhm.
I don't want to refuse anything, man. It's kind of like that movie Jim Carrey, Yes Man. Y'all remember that?
Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah.
That
Classic.
joint was so that joint was so wild when he started saying yes to everything. I can't remember. It was one thing that he did. It was like in a public place. There was like a board of like stuff to do. And he would just go up to that board and just pick up, say, yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll learn that. Yes. And it just started opening up so many doorways. His life
Yeah.
became rich and abundant because he was saying yes more than no. So whenever I'm confronted by, maybe something that I usually would not do, it's just like you said, right? I tell myself yes before I get a chance to tell myself no. I remember you saying that in like one of
Mhm.
our past episodes. Let me go ahead and say yes to this, so because later on, my no is going to be coming up from under this table, and I don't want that joint to take control. So yeah, man, I'm grateful for opportunities, fam. Grateful.
Mm.
Again, I also have to express my gratitude with my brothers, the types of things we're working on off camera, things that are growing step by step, day by day. And it fills me with satisfaction and joy to see the father doing what I always knew he could do, even when I didn't think he was doing nothing. The type of expertise you bring to the table with marketing, the type of organization John brings with document
Yep.
formation, the type of, I guess, comedy that Greg brings and levity in every one of the conversations I've had with him. But yet he has the distinct ability to be profound at the drop of a dime. It's like, it's a perfect mix, man. And I do not underestimate the relationships and the type of conversations that we have, and even what we're doing now, because we truly have no idea how big this can be. And I'm grateful for all of it, especially today. Especially today, man.
Love it.
So yeah,
Good
I
stuff.
hope I didn't evoke any tears on that, but I wasn't trying to be dramatic.
I stopped him
um,
from dropping. I stopped him.
yeah.
I
But
saw the
today's
fan you have back there. I saw it.
you did.
Rod has a fan in the back. He's just blowing. His eyes is open.
Yeah, trying to keep it, keep it together over here. My brother, I had pouring out.
Gotta do it, man. Gotta do it. But yeah, man, this show Black Mirror, man. Let's talk a little bit about how you guys were introduced to it. Because I stated, a little bit off camera, just looking at the show from a macro level, and I wanna take y'all back because the joint came out like what 2013,
Yeah.
something like that. It came out a while ago, man. We talking about over a decade from 13 years ago right now.
Mm.
And when the show came out, I had like it blew up all over the social media platforms at the time. Like Facebook, I heard a lot about. I even saw it on news pundits. They were talking about it.
Mm.
And so it
Mhm.
was because of the type of dark reality that was being presented that a lot of people don't want to think about or talk about. But
Mhm.
they were slowly showing like these types of things that we put into action that we're doing right now can have horrendous outcomes. So let's
Yeah.
go ahead and show what the horrendous outcome is so that we can do our best to avoid this. So
Mm.
it can be regulated. And the funny
It's
thing
so
is
interesting.
that
Yeah.
worked and sometimes it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you hitting on the same point I was getting ready to get on. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Go ahead.
I feel like the show was trying to warn us, right? But it was, it was entertaining at the same time.
Right.
But, you know, it begs the question, is is art imitating life or is life imitating art?
Ooh.
Are we watching these things and getting inspired to do the very thing that the show didn't want us to do? You know what I mean? That's the thing that always pops up in my mind. It's like, this is obviously from a human's imagination, the director, the writer, whoever, but is it? And now that it's out, it's kind of like, okay, is there somebody that's sitting there watching that going, oh, that'll be cool. I can make money off of that, or whatever it is. Let me put it
Yeah.
out regardless of the dangers. So I think that's one thing I always questioned about the show, even though I love it. Black Mirror, it might give some of the wild and wackies some crazy ideas to bring these things to life. And you brought up
Yeah.
some of that stuff off camera too. So I want you to talk about, like, the little chips and stuff like that have come from that show.
John, I want to give you a chance to respond first before I jump in on that.
No, I was just going to add that while it may be perceived as creative,
Mhm.
I honestly look at it, and I from the beginning I saw it this way, where it was more like a what was that show? You guys remember Jersey Shore? It's
Yeah.
like it was a reality show, right? And then after that reality show, there was a lot of reality shows. You guys remember? Jersey Shore was kind of like one of the first real, like, in your face reality shows, right? Black Mirror was simply showcasing what was already happening, but people were kind of unaware, like they had
Yeah.
blindfolds on. So for me, it was like, it was almost to a level of, a documentary, if you would, because when I first saw the shows, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like what I see. And for me, that's how I felt at the time. But yeah. So that's my quick take on it.
There were there were so many elements that pointed towards future accessibility with devices and technology that we have now, but we did not have then. Like the ability to record everything you think, do, or say from any given moment, so you can constantly review what somebody else says and fact check. And if you have problems with the way they behave, you can pull up the evidence right then and there. Like that was an episode. Or the episode where a prime minister is threatened by some Looney Tune who had leverage by kidnapping like one of the royal family members. It was like the first episode. And he's like, the only way I'm going to release her is you have to commit sexual act on a pig. And it got so much view because he put it like on YouTube, a platform, and that joint ran wild and went viral. So they were introducing viral videos. They were introducing the power of somebody to manipulate based on public perception. Because the question that prime minister was dealing with, he's like, man, elections coming up, the percentage of approval. It's like we're looking at the polls of what people are thinking, and all of that stuff seemed to have the biggest weight and matter rather than the decency of this person's life being in the balance, just making the decision off that. And in the end, the worst thing happened. And then, like there was one scene, dog, and it was in that scene, it was in that episode where they had the recording of everything that you've ever done. This couple was having sex, and they were while they were having sex, they were looking at past images and past videos of them doing that while they were doing it because they didn't have any more intimacy. And I was like, yo, this is so serious because in an essence, that's what people are fighting now with so much access to see
Yeah.
so many different things and have so many different distractions. I think about the lives that my grandparents had to live and sometimes my parents had to live before technology boom. You had to sit down and have real conversations and figure things out to make relationships work. You didn't have 1,000 options and knew what other people in Thailand or in France look like
Yeah.
and what they were doing. You didn't have all that. You only had what you had around you and what you knew. So the world was a lot more compartmentalized. And it seemed to make things a lot simpler because now with the overabundance of options that we have to distract us,
But to your
people
point, Brad, like, and you're making some excellent points. I've been listening to some podcasts that kind of talk about that and some of the benefits of having worldwide access, and you can pick up a phone and call somebody in Thailand, with not an issue, right? We're interconnected, and I think that it's it's only a dangerous thing because we don't have guardrails. We don't have any kind of, sideline profile of what not to do when it comes to the World Wide Web and the internet and all of the technology that we have, especially with AI in place now. And so it's moving at an advanced rate that's too fast for us to put guardrails up. And I think that's where the problem comes in. And so, like being a parent, my children wanted phones way early, and we gave my middle son a phone when he was 11, and we regretted it like almost immediately, and we had to take the phone back, and he hated it. We didn't like it as parents and all of that, but it was for his protection. It was for his livelihood in terms of making sure he's not so ingrained with having a phone, like because he was literally on the phone all day, and we were like, nah, because our oldest wasn't like that when we gave him a phone, so personalities matter, all that. But the point I'm making is there are pros and cons to everything, and anything in moderation can be okay. But that moderation piece, that's the thing. We don't have any of that when it comes to this. And I don't mean to sound like the old grumpy man. Don't stand by the microwave. It's gonna fry your brain, and move back from the TV. Your eyes are gonna be bad. Don't play that Nintendo. But the reality is AI and the stuff that we're doing with, the stuff that the show is presenting on Black Mirror is more dangerous than any microwave ever has been. And so it's like, we have to talk about it. We have to discuss both sides of it, though. Don't forget. And I'll end with this, and I want to hear your thoughts, John. We're living in a world of information, and I grew up, like the person on this podcast said, having to go to the library to get stuff and look up news articles and encyclopedias. And if you didn't see it, you just had to go off of whatever the knowledge of your parents, uncles, cousins, whoever else was around you had. Nowadays, information is vast. They don't have to do jack. They can lift their finger and they're going to have information. They don't even have to lift their finger. They can just say, Alexa, Siri, whoever. Y'all don't listen to me. I'm talking on the podcast, right? And then they'll get what they need. And so their brain is wired different from ours. So the question is not necessarily, is too much bad for them? The question is, what are they going to do with it in their process that we don't have the capability of doing because we didn't grow up with that. They grew up in it.
That's so good. That's so good. For me, it's all relevant, and I'll dig a little deeper real quick if you guys allow me to. In the industrial age, we were consumed by industry, starting factories and, different automotive and all this other stuff. And at that time, whether for us, we look at it now, looking back, we say it was simpler times, to your point that you stated, Brad, which is it's a true statement. It's factual based on our interpretation of now. It was a simpler time, but for them in that time, it wasn't simpler. It was innovative. It was different. It was a lot, right? So and listen, I'm giving you a little piece. If we look back through all the way back to the dawn of time, there has been evolution and progress and different things that have arisen that create a tumultuous type of environment, right? So then what happens? Now, as we've progressed, we look back and we're like, you guys don't, you don't know what bad is, or, well, we lived in simpler times. So there's always this interpretation, right? Yeah. So I say all of that to say, this information piece. So I look at it as, okay, it's accessible, and yet and still many don't use it. However, the ones that do use it, it's interesting how they're using it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that in itself is a whole conversation. And the piece about, for example, going back to Black Mirror, seeing that they're kind of showcasing what the reality is within that creative narrative. When you really look at it, you're like, okay, well, do they not have chips? and means of communications. We talked about it briefly offline a few nights ago, and we said, well, I remember watching, and you guys do too, Inspector Gadget, and he had a watch that he can communicate through. And this is a cartoon from when? You see what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Come on. We had shows like Knight Rider where the vehicle was autonomous and can conversate, right?
And drive
Come
to him.
on now. Come on. Like it's all there. It's just, is it for the consumer yet?
Yes.
Right? Do we put it out there? Because we know I wanted to say for a fact, but I'm gonna dial it down. Let's not say for a fact, but we believe, for example, military has access to more technologies than what we understand to be available for us, right?
For sure.
I mean, you look at somewhere like London, where they have I don't remember the number, but the amount of cameras that they have
is CCTV joint.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's like it's wild. It's absurd, right? Yeah. And they've had this for a minute. This junk has been up for a minute now, and they're watching everybody. Come on, stop it. What are we really talking about? So this is what I'm saying. It's all kind of relevant depending on the era. If we were to talk to our kinfolk, we'll understand that for them at that time, it was potentially overwhelming, whatever they lived through. For us at this time, it can be potentially overwhelming, but this is where gratitude comes into place. And how do we show up? Because while everything can be overwhelming and can just take over, if we stop, if we reflect and we see the opportunities, and like Rod said, even though we don't believe they're there are some guardrails, but we don't really use them. Like, I gave my kids phones, but I didn't put on the parent whatever settings of blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, here.
It's like the warning labels. It's like warning labels, man.
It's like warning labels.
Nobody really looks at them. Like, you got warning labels on cigarettes. You got warning labels on alcoholic bottles. You got warning labels on pre-rolls.
And to that point, Brad, like, nobody looks at them because it's just like, I think they're important, right? But we also understand that we live in the world. You know, to your point, John, we didn't put all those restrictions on their phones because we know that they're gonna eventually see stuff anyway. You know, the goal is to just raise them up properly, give them the right, standards and practices that we want to instill in them, and hope 100%. That they stay on the path. But yeah, I also I believe this is you could shelter people a little too much, and that'll make them go even harder in the wrong direction. So it's always a give and take, man. There's no perfect answer to that. But to bring up what you just said about gratitude, man, like, to your point, there's always going to be some sort of chaos and overwhelmed feeling in each generation and period. You know, I definitely would prefer this one versus, some 15th century hard labor out here we ain't gonna talk about. But you know what I mean?
Listen.
Like, it's just real. But the thing is, there's always gonna be some kind of fear, and there's always gonna be some kind of faith. And it just depends on which one you're gonna lean into, you know. So
1000%. That's so good. Let me give you that, guys, this real quick, because I keep it's in my face, it's blaring in my face. And I think it's interesting. So going back to the social media piece and how it's being utilized, right? So I looked up this fact, and it's interesting to me. It says we actively have 68.7% of the world's population using social media. Okay. So get ready. That is equivalent to 5.17 billion with a B people on social media. What?
That's wild.
67% of the world's population, man.
And I wonder, is that including, like, that when it says 67%, I'm assuming it's based off some kind of census record right? And that includes babies and stuff who don't even have the opportunity to use the internet. So it's really higher than 67%.
So it's listed at 68.7, and it's based on um how did they state it? It's like not IP, but basically the coding and the traffic within that coding. There's language for it. I'm not well versed in the language, but it's basically on impressions is what they're basing it off of. So, but if you think about it, that's a little over 5 billion people when the world's population, last I checked, was like 8.3 billion. So you only have like 3 and change that are not. Like, what is that?
It's a lot.
That's impactful.
Yeah, it's more than impactful because it also impacts how we are socially in the real world. You know, social media is great in some instances and is bad in others, just like everything else. But to me, the greatest downfall of it is that you believe you're being social because you're on social media. When all you're doing is looking at someone else's life and wondering why it's not yours, or looking down on somebody else, like it's not being social. It's not even close, which is why a lot of Gen Zers, and I'm not knocking y'all, I love y'all. I got daughter and son. Okay. Y'all don't know how to communicate. Y'all don't know. I was talking to my daughter earlier today. She called me from the house. Keep that in mind. And she said, "Hey, Dad, can you take me to the bus stop? It's raining outside." Now, I didn't give you all the piece that's interesting here, which is I didn't get a chance to say hello. As soon as I press talk, I hear her talking as I'm raising the phone to my ear. And I had a whole conversation with her about it. I'm like, you got to give me a chance to say hello first. You call me. Don't just start talking. And then secondly, it just made me dawn. I'm like, why am I raising the phone to my ear when these kids just press speaker or press FaceTime, or, which is why she started talking like that. And then it dawned on me, I had to pick the phone up off the wall. And by the time I'm putting it to my ear, that person who called me has to wait on me to say hello, not because I'm pulling to my ear, but because they don't know who they're going to get. It might be my mom, it might be my sister. I got to say hello. And then you say, hey, Mr. Brinson, can I speak to Sue? It's a different world. So social to us is not social to them. And even our generation is experiencing it and starting to switch and go, man. And now we forget how to be social. So I could go down a rabbit hole, man, but I just wanted you to know I feel you 100%.
That's excellent. That's an excellent analogy, man. The rules and boundaries of communication have changed generation to generation. And the biggest culprit is the media, the social media. That's what we're saying. Because when we look at it, I remember we remember the Facebook boom. I mean, they had a movie about it. Y'all seen the movie, the Social Network. It's an excellent movie, man. It's a Sorkin movie. And they showed about how it grew just from somebody's idea who was trying to have vengeance on somebody else. And they created a social platform right there in their dorm room. And then it began to explode because of word of mouth and wanting to be included. That's what it was. People's drive to want to be on something because everybody else was on it. That's what pushed this thing. And it's like, you don't want to be the only person not using it. You don't want to be. And that right there is so dangerous because one of the things that gratitude has saved me from is being comfortable about being me and being an individual. Because you think about the type of derision and the type of things you get called out on when you are not going along with the crowd, when you are not easily, adaptable, not I ain't gonna say adaptable, but easily integrated into what everybody else thinks that you are. The era of individuality seems to be diminishing right before our eyes because people are not happy about who they are. Why? Because they go on social media, they see better versions of what they think they are, and because they're not that, self-esteem goes right out the window. And it affects people in such a monumental mental and spiritual way, especially when they're alone with their thoughts, because nobody is constantly conversing and communicating with somebody else all the time. You're going to be conversing and thinking to yourself much more than when you are with other people. So and that's when all those ideas and things that you begin to think about yourself based on what it is you see on social media, that's when all that comes forth. And sometimes they don't even have to be articulated and spoken. It could just be thoughts.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if you do not have a barrier against that, or you do not have a shield against that, which is one form that we offer through gratitude,
Mm.
then you just take it along with the river. Like it just washes you right on out. And the next thing you know, you have social problems. You don't know how to communicate. I'm an introvert and proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Extroversions are almost extinct. In
Mm.
reality, we all have the ability to do it, but we just rather not because it's comfortable not doing it. I'd rather sit in my box, sit alone, sit separate because I'm not like everything I see.
Man, Brad, you said something, and I don't want to brush past it because I think it was so potent, man. You tied it back to gratitude and how that's kind of like the barrier or
Very.
the wall of protection to kind of recenter you, right? And for the viewer out here who may be watching this and not quite sure how that relates or how that connects, I want you guys between you and John to kind of give a little insight to that. Like, I want to know your thoughts on why gratitude is so important when it comes to seeing the Joneses and wanting to be like them, or seeing the millionaire who drives the Lamborghini on social media and you're like, man, why don't I have that? What's wrong with me? How can one look at that if they're seeing themselves as that person and start to turn that around by usage of gratitude?
I would say is the daily practice, right? So, one small example of that is celebrating your small wins.
Mm.
And I'll ask you guys, I'll encourage you to tell me the smallest, minute, literally like the smallest thing that you believe happened today. What is that thing that you can celebrate? The smallest thing. Give me one of them. Brad, you first.
I got an ab wheel here in my office, and I put it right by the door, so I have to walk past it whenever I go in and come and go out. And this
Mhm,
morning, I turned on Market Mondays because I didn't watch it last night. I said I'm going to do some ab exercises while I listen to this podcast episode, and I did that. And I got it because sometimes I could just sit there and just watch it and not do nothing. But I was
mhm,
like, I wanna use my ab wheel more. I wanna make sure I'm solid in the area because core is most important. So I did that. I got it done, and I was like,
mhm.
I got that done. And everybody, we know how it feels when you get a specific exercise done. That's like the gold badge of the day when you get a workout in.
So, what do
Mhm.
you believe from that is the small win?
The decision to do it.
Period.
Because even when I cut the episode on first and they did their intro and I was hooked because I was like, they're gonna be talking about this. And they started naming the subjects that they were going to cover on the
Mhm,
show. And I started to getting engaged to it. And I just wanted to sit here and just listen and see
mhm,
how much they talked about it. But then I was like, nope, I said I was gonna do this. So I paused it and then I got like about my number in, and then I
mhm,
kept playing it. And then I sat
mhm,
down and I was like, and I set a timer on my phone intentionally for
Mm.
2 minutes. And I said, after 120 seconds, I'm going for the next round. And I did it
yeah,
again.
yeah,
Because
Mm.
if I'm not that intentional, then I'll just do my first set and then get caught back up in the podcast. Next thing you know, 30, 40 minutes done gone past. And I'm like, I ain't feel like doing it now. I know how I am. So I'm like,
mhm,
let me set this minimal time clock so I can continue to get this done. And
mhm.
when I did that, I was like, boom, it's done. And I felt
Mm.
it. I was like, I
It's
got it
fantastic.
in. Yeah.
And believe it or not, it's the practice of the decision making muscle in you,
Yeah.
right? To do something to better yourself, or in the desire of growth or development, right? So
Mhm.
what's the point here? The reality is, in what we're trying to help our viewers understand and our people understand and our brother understand, is that win, for example, while it's amazing and it may seem small for you, it's actually a big win.
Mhm.
It's actually
Yeah.
a big win.
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example. Did you fix your bed this morning when you got up? I'm
No.
gonna put you on a spot.
I didn't. No, I don't. I tell you the
Okay.
truth. That's what. Yeah, I didn't do it.
Listen, and that's fine. But guess what? That would have been a small win. Why? Because now your approach to everything else after that, subconsciously, is organization.
Mhm.
So you got up off of your bed, you fix your bed. That small detail creates a catalyst that basically goes with you throughout your day.
That's so
You see
good.
what I'm saying? See the
Oh my
difference?
God. Yeah. And
Go
I
ahead,
had to
Rod.
jump
Talk
in
to
there
me.
because I was thinking of a small win the whole time, and every win was big, and I was like, no, I got to get lower, I got to get smaller.
Yep.
And as I'm thinking, the small win didn't come to me until you just said that. I didn't make my bed up either, Brad. So you're not alone. Don't worry about it. I do
Hey,
it some
listen, I
days.
slept on the couch. I didn't even sleep in my bed. It's fine.
I do it
I
some
cheated.
days, and when I do it, I do feel more organized and more put together. So for sure, I get that. But I did it in a different way today. But the same scenario applies, even though it's something different.
Mhm.
I normally start my day by reading a full chapter of some book in the Bible. And
Okay.
typically it's like I want to be in the same book. So this whole month I've been in the book of Joshua. And so I'll normally start my day at 5 a.m. or before. Today I
Mhm.
woke up late. I decided to sleep in, right? And so
Okay.
I got things to do. I got meetings. I come downstairs to my office. It's like 7:30, something like that, maybe a little later. It was closer to 8. I got a 9 o'clock meeting. The first thing go in my mind is, I don't have time to read my chapter today. Let me get to work. And the second thing went in my
Mm.
mind was, no, bro, you said you was gonna read a chapter a day. You got time. Sit your butt down and read that chapter. And I did. And that was a small win, not because of the wisdom and the nuggets and vitamins that I got from the read, but from
Mhm.
the fact that I chose to be disciplined and do what I said I was gonna do. And that
Mhm.
led to me
1000%.
doing other things I said I was gonna do. And then I
Mhm.
felt more accomplished because I'm like, I did what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Exactly.
So it's like that one
Mhm.
little seed, man.
Yeah.
And I was grateful for that, and I'm grateful for it now. So yeah,
Yeah.
you brought
Exactly.
up a great point with that.
So that's that there is the shift, right? So for us on a macro scale, we usually look for the bigger ticket items. Those are the most impactful. Those are the ones that give us the warm and fuzzies, and we
Mhm,
want to keep doing those things because I just made X number of dollars because I blah blah. No,
mhm,
that's where we miss it, because this is the bottom line, that gratitude permits opportunity. So if we take gratitude and we say, okay, I'm going to change or shift the word for a second, I'm going to replace it with opportunity. You had the opportunity to
mhm.
do what someone else didn't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that changes everything,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, now we're forced to interpret things through a social media, let's say, for
Mhm,
example,
Mhm.
right?
mhm,
However, interpretation isn't based on what you believe in your mind is that it is. Okay.
mhm,
Going into a couple of things here. I had a conversation. I mentioned to you guys, I had breakfast with my son
mhm,
and we had a discussion. The discussion was based on social interaction.
mhm,
Okay. So where am I going with this? He works at Publix. Okay. Brilliant young man. Not because he's my son, but all parents are proud of their kids. I'm very proud of mine. Okay.
mhm,
My son is brilliant, but he's still a child, one, not to diminish his experience. But it's interesting to me that he states that his generation doesn't approve of strangers knowing their first name.
Interesting.
Now, follow me for a second here, okay?
Okay.
Rod, you mentioned something that we all experience, and I know the people listening, you know you experienced this. When you picked up that phone, they said, hello? And you heard your mom or somebody in the back, who's that? Who's calling? Right? And you're like, hold on, who this? Hello? Right? And what would you tell them? You ain't gonna. Maybe you'll say Mrs. Smith. This. Oh yeah, it's Cherie or it's John or it's the right. You would say your name, okay? Or you go to the store. Hey, how you doing? Or who? If you go to a restaurant, you always get a name because of the interaction, because you understand the importance of intimacy. And a lot of people don't like this word because they always think of all kinds of other stuff. All right. Intimacy is important. To my point, my son doesn't want people to know his first name because it is too intimate. He rather have his last name on his little badge at Publix because there he feels safe. Are you listening to the right?
Yeah.
Intimacy, the safety. What are the barriers? What are the guards? We don't have any. Everything is in the media. Everything is exposed. So now we feel insecure.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what happens. So where did we go from there? We went into the interpretation piece. And I'm going to end it with this because I think I'm hogging it all up.
No, you're good. So this is good.
And I know that we all know this because we've talked about it previously, but I'm going to repeat it here for those that have never heard it before. We know a gentleman by the name of Jay Shetty, brilliant man, right? Now, Jay Shetty has this saying. He says it's one of his favorite sayings, and I've adopted that saying because it's also one of my favorites. He says, he doesn't know where he heard it. He says, I'm not what I think I am, and I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am.
Wow.
Okay.
Perception.
Okay.
So what's happening?
Perception.
Perceived. Yes. Perceived perception. So what's happening? Everything that we're consuming and everything that we're projecting is based on what we interpret, someone else will interpret is the correct thing to project. And it's happening. So when we talk about something like gratitude, it don't fit. It doesn't fit in the box. It doesn't fit. Right? You see what I'm saying?
So you saying it doesn't fit because of the perceived perception?
Of course.
Because so they're looking at it through a lens that has another lens. And so they can't necessarily stomach gratitude. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't say complex. You're right. It's too complex. I wouldn't say stomach, but it's become, I don't know, it's become too different. How about that? We can say it that way. It's become too different.
It's versatile, man. I follow what you said because it cannot be classified as one thing by everybody. It's different for everybody. And just because of its complexity in that manner, that's why it doesn't fit. That's why it doesn't fit.
But it kind of goes to what you said earlier, John. And I think this is a very interesting topic for me because like them thinking about what the other person is thinking about is clouding their ability to think about what they should be thinking about.
Right.
Which is give me an example of what you think that is.
Is being grateful for what they have. Is recognizing what they have. It's being aware of what they have. It's all of that.
And do it.
Yeah, it's like you're so focused down the road, you can't see what's right in front of you.
Oh,
bingo.
That's deep. Bingo. So how do we unpack that? How do we remove some of those layers and filters and fog to teach this next generation? Like, yo, like it's right here in front of you. Like
it's like what he said. Start identifying the small wins, man. That's like the first practical step. The smaller the win is, that's what man. It's like a badge of honor in here. Because it's so easy to how many of us are familiar with this? At the end of the day, we do the review and say, "Man, I didn't, I couldn't, I should have, I would have." We count those all the live long day. Yeah. But let us have a steady chain of successes prior to that. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. We forget all about it.
Mm-hmm.
And why is that?
Mm-hmm.
Because my perception of what somebody else perceives about me weighs so importantly. I gotta meet that. And it overshadows the wins that I got for myself, no matter how small they are. I made a decision to get my butt up and get down and do those exercises during that podcast. And if I had, nobody would have seen, but I'd have known it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But now, tomorrow, I don't have to think. It's like, man, I ain't done that exercise like all week. I was like, yesterday, I knocked that joint out. Now I'm going to knock another one out.
Yeah.
That's the motivator to get me going for the next time. Because I'm not worried about a perception of, or somebody else thinks like, I'm lazy or so I just don't do it. I'm not so concerned about that. My only focus is, because of gratitude, being the best version or better version of myself today than I was yesterday.
Exactly.
And that starts with, for me personally, thanking the fact that I got another day to be better. And from that small gratitude, it's like, okay, now that I got this extra opportunity to be greater, what is the 1% to 5% I can increase my value of me being a good person? What's the one way I can do that today? And that's all I'm gonna focus on, just for the 24 hours. I ain't gonna worry about being 100% better or making leaps and strides in one day. Let me just
And that's Brad. Oh my God, man. Y'all saying so much incredible stuff. I just have to chime in before I lose my thought. You just hit it on the head. And John said something like that earlier. I think, John, you said, like, they want the big moment. They can't wait for the incremental, small bits and small wins. And Brad, you just said it. Hey, I just one step at a time, I'm gonna eventually, like, but that's not what they are living in. They are living in a age and time where, in a track meet my son is running, he's coming towards the finish line. All of them, not just him, are so busy watching the clock to see the time they run, they can't concentrate on passing the finish line at a faster time, because the next are like this crossing the finish line.
That's right.
We live in the industry in a time and age where they care about hitting a home run. They don't care about hitting no single or bunting or getting on first base. They want to hit a home run. Not for
Good
them.
point.
Not for them. They want to hit a home run for the perception. They want to hit a home run for them cameras. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They want to hit a home run for the gram. They want to do it for the gram.
For the viral.
They want to do it for the gram. That's what we're coining it. We don't want to do it for the gram.
But that's my point, though. They grew up in that. Grew up in it. Ingrained. It's innate. So the question is, how do we start peeling back those layers to reveal that they have been blind all this time? And I honestly think it begins, and we have to do it for some of our generation too. It ain't just them. I want to be clear,
Sure.
We got boomers, Generation X, millennials. They all got some of it in them, because none of us are, immune. But the bottom line is, we have to begin by developing medicine, nurturing nutrients that can help to show them that they don't have to care so greatly about what somebody else may think about them. Because it's not about what they think in the first place. It's the perception of what they might think, like you said. So that's the first piece. If we can develop a way to help people to see that it's okay to just be who you are, get comfortable with that. You know what I mean? That's the first step. And then they can get to the gratitude and stuff later on. But you got to be comfortable with who you are.
I want to propose something from each one of you guys, and you guys will only know the answer to this. Would you think that one of your offspring would be willing to jump on here with us and talk to it from a Gen Z perspective about what we're talking about?
1,000%.
John, I know it's the little Johns that you have running around your house. I know it's like all of you know here what.
Listen here. Even my daughter, who is
your daughter,
now a mom, right? And now is living within a different transition in her life, a different moment in her. Even her perspective, she's 24, 25. I know I'm getting it wrong, but it's even her. But the boys, I'm telling you, they would tell you. But I don't want to miss this, Rod. To your point, I got you. You ready? Yeah. What's the pill? The pill is gratitude. The pill is gratitude. Now, how do we get there? Okay, these are the steps. We create awareness. We include daily practices. We permit for clarity. Okay, and then we use accountability to tie it all together. And if we don't have that, we can't move forward. Why? Too many are not self-aware. They're aware. They're consciously aware of others. Exactly what you mentioned. I couldn't say it any better. Exactly what you said is the perception, right? A perceived perception. So what's happening? You're lacking awareness because you're not aware of self. You're not. So your daily practices now come into play here. You're not celebrating your small wins because you can't even identify your small wins because you're too busy looking at somebody else's small wins, big wins, all the wins. All right. But if you start looking at your own, like, for example, I got up this morning, I actually brushed my teeth. Stop it. I wasn't out there with a funk mouth. I brushed my teeth, and that's a small win. Now listen here. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. How many people go out there? You need to pass them a mint. Stop it. Okay? Stop it.
It's real. It's real.
You know?
That's a small win that I didn't think of.
That's a small win. Why? We take it for granted.
Yeah.
Listen, I was able to put on my socks today. I personally have been in situations because I have issues with my back. When I initially got hurt, I couldn't bend down. I had to be bathed. I had to be clothed. I put my socks on today, man. We want to talk about small wins. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop, man.
Yeah. And John, I'm with you 1,000%. I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't even like that phrase, but I want to speak for the person who's watching this saying, yeah, I haven't had back issues. I put my socks on too, right? I get it, but they might not get it. And so like you and I are on the same team. And I think that your approach about, is starting with the peel of gratitude makes perfect sense. The question is, how do we get them to swallow the pill? And my version of that is to give them something digestible that they desire. And what that looks like for me is, hey, and I'm just using this as an example, right? You talked about bringing my son on the show, Brad. I was thinking through like which child of mine would say yes. And it's probably my oldest, but my middle son, he and I will go on TikTok on a regular basis and have a whole debate about LeBron or Jordan or this cereal versus that cereal, Michael Jackson versus Drake. Because this guy had the nerve to say that Drake is better than Michael Jackson.
I saw that TikTok, and I encourage everybody watching, go watch that TikTok. Funny.
But here's my point though. Gen Z has a different view. They look at life totally different. And it's up for us to educate them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not just me arguing that Michael Jackson is better. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna play the tape. We're gonna compare. And guess what? Here's the surprise for you. I'm gonna listen to what you got to say about Drake. And I'm gonna bob my head and I'm gonna go, okay, I see your point of view. Because you know what? That validation is going to open up a doorway for me to have a conversation with you, for you to see my point of view.
Come on with it.
And that's the part that we're missing. So we can sit here and talk amongst us and agree with the gratitude pill all day. How do we tap into them? That's where I'm at.
You got something, Brad? Because I got something.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the interesting part about it is, in order for them to swallow the pill, you never give it to them. See, this is the thing. We believe that in order to help someone, they kind of they kind of only have to be in the place where there's no return, right? So let's say you have to hit rock bottom before you change or before something changes in your life, which is true. y'all out there, don't hurt me. I know we've all seen rock bottom, right? We've all seen it. It's hard down there. But there's a lot of people that there's a lot of people that hit rock bottom, didn't even know they was at rock bottom, and they were still happy-go-lucky. They didn't know, right? But there's other people that never hit rock bottom, but they just want something better in their life. They just want something better. And all I'm saying is, look, you don't have to take the gratitude pill. You don't have to. And honestly, I'm not here to convince you that you have to take the gratitude pill. But I will show you through my actions and what I've been able to accomplish in my life. And all I'm saying is, I swallowed the pill and I'm in a good place. And you're welcome to come along, right? But I can't force you. I won't force you.
I was about to say it probably wouldn't be good if you did.
Yeah,
exactly. I agree.
It wouldn't. So again, going back to the point, they'll say, well, why is it even relevant for me? And then I would say, what have you lost lately? Because that means that question allows for an opportunity to discuss the reason why gratitude is so impactful. Because gratitude, of course, because gratitude reflects opportunity, which is given through love, okay, and solidified by accountability and daily practices.
Given through love, solidified through accountability and daily practices. That's rich. That's rich. Man, I love this conversation, man. This is amazing.
Yeah, Greg missed that. We hope Greg is still doing well. I know he got that tornado watch where he is, but we definitely missed him during this conversation. I know he would have had a lot of insight on this topic.
For sure.
But the good thing is, this is not going to be on this broadcast. And just by the fact that we have been discussing the power of gratitude and how it can be used to reach the current generation of Gen Z, who's probably the greatest, who's been the greatest affected by the social media way because it's all they've known. Like I said, we were born in the '80s, and we remember times before any of this was even accessible. It's interesting because we can pose this if you gentlemen are willing to bring on one of your children next week to talk about this in conjunction with the rating system episode, because that's still relevant and it fits perfectly with what we're talking about. The fact that we go online and we see so many different people to compare ourselves to, and then when we post it, we share our own mind. It's almost like automatic for us to check to see if anybody else is with us through a like, through a post, through a reshare, through a save, through a comment. It's all relevant. And those small little things that we look for are our silent verifications for the ratings if we're important or not. And what we need to know and what we need to constantly have expressed through the practice of gratitude is that we're important before we even pick up the phone, before we even log in. The individuality, the type of wisdom and the type of ingenuity that came together to create who you are is divinely unique. And the reason why I know that is because everybody has their own fingerprint. And you think about the billions that we just talked about who are in existence right now in the world. Are you trying to tell me ain't nobody got the same fingerprint? You doggone right we're unique. So as we put a cap on this episode, if there's one sentence that you can give to encapsulate the power of gratitude and how it can be used in this present day and age and leading to our next conversation next week, what would that be in summary that you would want to tell the person watching this tonight?
I guess I'll start. Yeah. I'll jump in. You don't get to the win by doing a large leap. It's always a small step. It's always incremental. Don't get bored with the small steps, because if you do, you'll never be able to see the forest for the trees. You'll never be able to reach that land that you're trying to get to. Like, if you can imagine yourself in a sea or ocean, like stuck and having to swim to an island that you can see in the distance. If all you want to do is leap out of the water and land on the sand, you're going to drown. Guess what you got to do? You got to use one arm at a time and put it in the water and push the water back. And then use the next arm and put it in the air and put it in the water and push the water back. You have to swim to that destination. Are you going to get tired? Absolutely. But if you're determined enough, you will make it. But I guarantee you what won't happen. You won't be able to fly out of the water without swimming and land on the sand. It's just not going to happen. And so when you see people dancing on that island that you're heading towards, don't imagine that they did that. They didn't. They swam there. Now, they may have had a boat, but you didn't see what they did before they got to that boat. So never compare yourself to a person that's further ahead, further along than you. Think about it in incremental, small, baby, minute, small wins. Oh, I'm thankful I brushed my teeth. I'm thankful I could put on my socks, because that is what's going to get you to that island.
That's good. That's good. I gotta follow that. Come on, man. That's not fair.
I gotta follow you.
I love it. I love it. And guys, those of you watching, those of you following us, don't, like I like to say, don't get it twisted. What you see is a brotherhood. We have to smile, we have to laugh, we have to rejoice, because we are grateful to have this opportunity. So don't think we'll kind of mess around with each other here and there, but it's all love. It's all love.
Period.
To your question, and piggybacking off of my brother Rod, I want to hit the other side of the coin. For those that are in a very dark place and don't see an end in sight and don't understand or fathom the possibilities that exist already around you, I'm going to tell you, if you're listening, then that means you have a 100% success rate. You made it. You're here. Allow yourself the privilege to be aware of the fact that you're here, because there are many that didn't make it.
Man, see, talk about following people, man. It's funny because that whole concept about being a winner just because you're here is ironic. I was a biology major in college, and I remember they said in the beginning of our classes, for those who are on track to be doctors, is like, look to your left, look to your right. Some of these people ain't gonna make it. It's kind of like that military thing, you know what I'm saying? But it really rings true, the fact that all of us are already winners, because when your parents got together and copulation took place, millions of sperm were released, but one reached the egg and fertilized it, and that was you. So you already start out life's journey being a winner in a race of millions. That has to sink in. That has to bear some type of weight. And in reality, and Lou, for next week's conversations, is not the fact that everyone else rating us is such the bad thing. It's the fact that we're improperly rating ourselves before we even show who we are. And that's what gratitude solves. Because when you start to find the little things, the small wins, like we've been talking about, to be grateful for, there's a little bit of confidence, that little bit of pride, a little bit of, that's right, that comes up. And that, no matter how small it is, shoot, man, a match can start a forest fire. So taking that into consideration, I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. Again, prayers up for our brother Greg, who wasn't able to make it. Next week, we're going to cover that Black Mirror episode, which is called Nosedive, I believe. It was season 3, episode 1, where the rating system was put in place, and we may be graced by a child, one of our brothers here, to talk a little bit or give us a key insight into a Gen Z's perspective of how gratitude can even matter and how it can work in their own life. This is the GFB Clubhouse. We thank you again for joining us on a Tuesday night. And until the next time we meet, may the Most High bless and keep you. Thank you.
Peace.